Madam Speaker, the rent is too damn high. The rent is too damn high. We have people across the country struggling to keep a roof over their heads. We are the wealthiest nation in the history of the world outside of ancient African civilizations. Yet we cannot provide housing for every single person in our country. We have CEOs making record profits. We have corporations making record profits. We have corporate landlords suppressing and oppressing and evicting tenants without just cause while continuing to raise the rent. We call on President Biden to take executive action on this issue. We do not have a healthy democracy or a healthy society unless we take care of our tenants and our working class people who are working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week just to survive.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Thank you, and I yield back.
$2,000 a month, and my rent is $1,660.
Sadly, this is getting to be the story of pretty much everybody out there. I haven't rented since I was in my 20s, so I've been out of the housing market forever on this shit. But I tried to help my niece get a place about 6-8 months ago, something like that. And she was telling me everything she found was $1,900, $2,300, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, sweetheart, you just let me look for you. There's something out there, $500-600 a month that's decent. I'll find it. There's not. Like, how? I mean, why? Why did we get to this point? Why is just a decent place to sleep and cook and survive exist? Why is it $3,000, $4,000 a fucking month? I mean, it's ridiculous. Something's got to change. Otherwise, we're going to end up with half the country homeless.
Now, what I'm about to say may piss a lot of landlords off, but I don't really care at all. But I'm going to read to y'all the qualifications that this person wants for this house. And it ain't an amazing ass house. We're not talking about anything super expensive. The rent, like I said, is $16.95, $40 application fee per adult. They want you to make 3.5 times the rent. Standard, for whatever reason, is 3 times the rent. When majority of Americans don't even make 3 times a $1,600 a month rent. I don't know where people just get up and be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make this a national standard that people have to make 3 times the rent amount. Majority of people can afford 2 times the rent on a specific basic home like this. But this person is going even further. They don't want you to have 3 times the rent. They want you to have 3.5 times the rent. They want the last 2 years of your W-2s, the last 3 months of your check stub, driver's license or ID, social security card. They want you to make 2 months worth of rent as your security deposit before you even move in, and you have to have a credit score of at least a 670. I'm trying to tell you off the bat, that disqualifies so many people from being able to be in a home that is decent. Let's add that up, why don't we? Off the rip, you have to pay first month's rent, $16.95. You have to pay $40 application fee per adult, and let's just say the standard adult is 2 adults, right? You have to pay, if you have a pet, which majority of people in Houston do have pets, dogs, it's a $250 non-refundable fee per pet. So let's just say you have a pet. We're going to add that up. And then you have to make 2 months of the rent to equal the amount of the security deposit. So that's $16.95 times 2. All right. And on top of that, we're not even talking about your utilities and all the things that you have set up. They want you to have rental insurance before you move in. Standard rental insurance is probably about $25 a month. Let's just say that. Before you can even move into this house, sitting in a savings account somewhere or just idle money, you already got to come off of this amount of money. I don't know at what point we stop being human, though. Even as an investor and a landlord, at what point did we stop being human and we say money trumps everything, including people? I don't get it.
They're going to end up owning 50% of affordable housing, and that's
crazy. What's the content that they're putting against me and you is don't be stupid, don't buy a fucking primary house, renting is a lot easier or better. BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard. Think about the market making that they're doing in affordable housing.
They're on pace to own 60% by 2030.
And they have long-term patient money. So in any fucking medium income, low income area, they're going to make the market on the rents. That means out of every motherfucking block, these guys are going to own 6 out of 10 homes.
Well, you're absolutely right, Judge. You know, what we have to look at is the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America.
1933 is when they started monetizing us and pledging us as collateral for the debt. Now, to register, the word register means to abandon. And when you register a car or a birth or a house, you're giving it to the government. You're giving your legal title to the government, and you only retain equitable title, which means that you have the use of that property. The government allows you to use it, thinking that you own it. Clear evidence of this is anyone who owns a house, look at their mortgage, and you're referred to as the tenant, not the owner, the tenant. So if you think you own your house, you're mistaken. Same with your car. The reason why they can impound your car is because you registered it, and under maritime admiralty salvage laws, they come along and they adopt it. In the case of the birth registry, they adopt the abandoned child.
Hey guys, Ben Barlow, Your Rights, Your Life. Hey, I want to touch base with you on how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. So let's work through this. In 1932, they turned every hospital into a foundling hospital. A foundling hospital is a location which now includes police departments, fire departments, CPS, Department of Family Services. They turn them all into foundling locations. A foundling location is where you can go, anyone can go up and drop their kids off with no retribution against them without breaking the law and just give up their kids. So every hospital got turned into a foundling hospital in 1932. In 1933, they created the birth certificate process. In that birth certificate process, it turned you from you were born as a sovereign, like our founding fathers fought for their independence to become sovereign instead of citizens. The 1933 birth certificate process turned you back into a citizen, and this whole entire time that we've been through the school system, what I call the public indoctrination centers, they've indoctrinated us into thinking that citizenship is the next best thing to apple pie and baseball, and we should be so proud of our citizenship, but what they didn't tell you is that it was a yoke around your neck. It trapped you under Admiralty Maritime Law, and I'm going to go into a multiple part series to help you understand what they did and how they did it. This is just the first part. Citizenship is a yoke around your neck. Citizenship, what that stands for, city is municipal, zen is servant. So as a citizen, you are a municipal servant to the state being government, the federal government. You are a federal United States citizen. So now I want you to think about something, because this is what it comes down to. Washington, D.C. is where the federal government's at. Washington, D.C. is not a part of the United States. Washington, D.C. is a territory. It's not even owned by the United States. It's owned by the corporation that runs the United States of America, that holds its allegiance and loyalty to the Vatican and to the Crown. It's not our government, it's their government. So being a citizen, you are a citizen that is loyal to the Crown and the Vatican. Let that sink in for a minute, because you got to understand what that means. You are a United States citizen, which is a federal citizen. You don't even live where you think you live. You reside where you're at. You actually are living in Washington, D.C., and all your records are located in Washington, D.C. in the library. So think about that. You are here to incur debt.
Let me give you a quick example about the maritime law, the law of water, the law of the sea. Money is water by law. This is why all ships are female. By law, all ships, rocket ship, sailing ship, it doesn't matter. If it's a ship, it's female. Because the captain always refers to his ship as she. Right. She's a good ship, or she's done this. Why she? Because she delivers the product. Without she, there is no product.
It's a vessel. It's a whole,
of course it is a vessel. So is your body. It's a vessel that produces a product.
Right.
When the ship pulls into harbor, it stops, and where it parks is called its berth. It's berthing a ship, or she sits in her berth. And every item on that ship, coming out that ship, is money. It's money changing hands.
Right.
It came in on water. So every piece has to have what is called a certificate of manifest, because she is sitting in her berth. That's why when you were born, your mother's water broke. You were inside a container of water. Her water broke and you came out, and therefore you have to have a birth certificate. And it's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is sitting. The dock is where the ship sits. So once you begin to see how the words and terms are all based on maritime admiralty, the law of water, the cash flow, the liquid asset, it goes all the way back to the English or British domination of the seas.
It was 6 accounts in my name. I called the Federal Reserve Bank. I'm like, why do I got an account with $6 million in it that I've never opened myself? How did you get access to your account? That's when they really started messing with us. That's not the question. Why do I got an account with $6 million? Why do I got a Bank of America account with $20 million in it and I never had a Bank of America account? Who the hell is using the money? Then you start tracking down your social security number, putting a 0 in front of it, which makes it a 10-digit bank account number. Then you look at your birth certificate number, which is your routing number. So now you're like, hold on, I got a bank with all this money. And then you start realizing what social security is. You working for free, and then they're paying you little bitty percentages or fractions out of the account that you already had all this money built in, because you're a natural born law-abiding citizen of the creator and not of man. You can operate as an indigenous in the private as your natural born body self, or you can operate as a corporation, which is the name your mother and father gave you right before they got a social security number and then sold your soul to the corporation that we call the United States of America, which is not a country, it's a business, it's a corporation and an agency.
Due to current events, I figured now would be a great time to tell you guys all about Smart LA 2028. Smart LA 2028 was a plan released in 2019 to redefine and restructure Los Angeles in time for the 2028 Olympics. Smart LA 2028 has many key points, one primarily being the transportation infrastructure to go for a car-free Olympics. Don't just take it from me, however, take it from Ted Ross, the Chief Information Officer of LA.
As a 3-time United States Digital City Award winner, the City of Los Angeles has been investing in the infrastructure, the apps, and the data tools to be a globally recognized smart city. But as technology evolves, so our smart city must evolve too. That's why we have developed our Los Angeles Smart City Strategy, known as Smart LA 2028. Check it out here.
Key points that they're looking to improve are infrastructure and community engagement, which may be hard since there's no community anymore. Some constraints on this project are funding and budget constraints because infrastructure is very important and very expensive. And piggybacking off that, another hurdle is the aging infrastructure. Much of LA's infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and utility grids, were built decades ago and requires significant upgrades or replacement. They're going to have to replace a lot now. With that comes retrofitting challenges. Adapting existing systems to modern standards is often more complicated and costly than building new infrastructure. How about that? It would be cheaper for them to just build new infrastructure instead of repair and fix the old. Traffic congestion. A lot of people living in LA means a lot of traffic. I guess it's kind of weird that a lot of people won't be living in LA now. Environmental concerns, because a lot of residents mean high carbon emissions from cars and high water usage, which we know LA is already struggling with the water usage because the firefighters said that there's no water to put out the fires right now. The hydrants are running dry. And as we know, wildfires are a big environmental concern. Regulatory and bureaucratic hurdles are a big concern as well because, you know, it's going to be hard getting things approved when there's so many people living and working in LA. And stakeholder coordination. But I guess it's really not going to be that hard to convince people to fix a city that no longer exists. You're just building from the ground up, right? It's hard to get equity and public support because of gentrification concerns. Infrastructure improvements can lead to displacement in lower income communities, creating opposition to certain projects. But I guess there's not going to be much opposition now. And the digital divide. Technological integration, because integrating smart sensors to existing infrastructure is very complex. But again, I guess there's now not much infrastructure to have to work with. And public transit challenges, because with everybody living in LA, converting everybody to public transit was an uphill battle. And project timelines were under constraints because so many people live and work in LA. I guess it's lived and worked in LA. Now that you mention it, I'm actually pretty sure that Lahaina was going through the same thing and faced the same issues, right? What a coincidence.
So I just stumbled upon something extremely interesting. You should just go, like, literally search on the internet. I live in Texas, but you can search your state. I searched Texas smart cities, which led me to, it has a link of, I don't know, I think it said like something about fire initiatives, or I don't know, it was something weird. Bro, Houston is literally on fire. Like, super on fire. Like, look at that. What's going on? What's all this? Like, what's going on?
Okay, this is just pure speculation, but if you haven't seen it yet, this is the current like radiation spike map. But here, I want you to really study this. Like look where like the red dots are, and like just kind of look at the shape, okay? Now, check this out. This is the smart city map. Do you see any similarities? Just, you know, pure speculation, probably means nothing. It's probably just a coincidence, right?
Well, what do you know? Looked up my state, and it's the good old C Pleasant. Smart city, the first one at that.
The Earth will be reset in a few years. The theory of the Great Reset asserts that every few hundred years, a catastrophic event occurs and forces humanity to reset and start over. This theory has been supported by many scientists, but also by declassified CIA documents. According to this theory, some past civilizations were as advanced, if not more so than we are today. Some have even suggested that the elaborate cave network under our feet is actually made up of roads from some of these resets long ago. The situation is even darker, as some believe there is an elite who cash in on the resets, or who can reduce the moment when a catastrophic event will occur to hide during this period, and re-implant themselves in society during the reconstruction phases and regain control. All this is just a simple theory. They managed to do that. Then they would have power indefinitely, and they could endure among all civilizations and all times. This joins the theory that some stars, some powerful people in the world, have access to multiple lives. They would become more and more intelligent with each new life. If you think this is possible, then tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to solve these mysteries.
I have a book here that just goes into everything about San Francisco from the 1850s and the Great Fires of San Francisco. When the Great Fires were happening in San Francisco during the 1850s, it was Freemasons, Oddfellows, different orders who were having all these fires happen so that they could reset something and then take it over and then say it's theirs and everything else. But the more I've looked back into these books, the more I've seen that this has happened so many times in a row. I mean, even with the World Fairs situation, you know, when people are looking at the World Fairs and all these beautiful buildings, like a pyramid, for example, right there in Nashville, and then this building as well, which is Pier Stone. But all of this stuff has been reset multiple times. And I've started to realize that the more I would go back into the 1850s, it was like the people of the 1850s, like me and you right now, of let's say 2025 or whatever year it is, are seeing this and seeing it over and over again the same way they were seeing it. But they didn't even know that they were in this. So it's kind of like the more you get into this, unless awareness is created, which is happening, and I'm very thankful. Like, the internet just spreads things like crazy now. And now that, allegedly there's no fact checkers and whatever, great things can happen to it.
Is going to happen in 2040, 2030, Great Reset. Great Reset of what? What are they resetting?
They're just going to fuck up the whole system, like the money system.
What system? Who is the system? Is it? That's what I'm saying, bro. You got to do your research.
Where do you do your research?
I spend a lot of time listening to what people say. So you can read an article, press release, but because I used to work in the news industry and things like that, it gets super tailored. But if you watch somebody in a podcast, in an interview, when their ego gets boosted or when they get put in the middle of the table, that's when you get the fucking sauce, bro. You don't know if the CEO of BlackRock gets nervous in front of 5,000 people where he might slip up. The motherfucker slipped up, bro. Slipped up big time, bro. And I can literally tell you, I was literally laughing. I was rewatching it yesterday. You know what? I'll send it. I'm going to send it out in an email for you motherfuckers, all right? You guys got to watch it. If it resonates with you, it's because you're well informed. If it goes over your head, you got some work to do.
Uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty. Markets like actually totalitarian governments where you have a understanding of what's out there, and obviously the whole dimension is changing now with, as you said, a democratization of countries, and democracies are very messy, as we know in the United States. You have opinions changing back.
Now, I want you to use your mind. This is a wooden school bus from the year 1919, okay? But 70 or 80 years before that, they had better modes of transportation. They built buildings like this all over. This is from Buffalo, New York. But it doesn't matter which city you look at. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff. Look how complicated these railways were. And look at these photos, drawings, these old buildings. This is the first photo of Buffalo, and it's in ruins. The first photo of Buffalo, and everything is destroyed. And look at it now. Everything is abandoned. Everything is in shambles, totally falling apart, because no one is going to take care of it. And what's the reason? Because we didn't build it in the first place. Look up the Tartarian theory.
So you want to know about the last reset? That's good. That's real good. Alright, listen to this. So this is how it is. From the 1700s to the 1800s, we went through a reset. History was rewritten. And what that means is names was changed, dates, places, and most importantly, the rulers of this world as we know it changed. Because if you notice, so many countries was founded in the 17 and 1800s. So many monuments and great buildings was founded in the 17 and 1800s. And what they really mean when they use the word founded, it means they found it. Something was already there, and they claimed it for themselves and told their own story of what they saw when they arrived. Imagine that the history of technology is even rewritten. And the reason why they've done this is because they want you to believe in evolution. They want you to think that we've been living for thousands of years and nobody was able to make any type of technology or electricity. They want you to think that the rulers of this world are superior to every other civilization and culture, and they was the only ones that could figure it out. Because if you don't know, there's nothing new under the sun. Anything that you think about doing is already been done. And remember, Napoleon said, history is a set of lies agreed upon. Why do you think he said that? He said that because that's exactly what history is. It's his story. It's not our story. It's his story.
The Simpsons put out their series finale, or a leak, or at least that's what's being said, right? And it leaves people confused, because if you saw the clip of it, or if you saw the show, it's an entire reset. This is super important because the Simpsons have been famous for, some say predicting, others say for sort of telling you what's going to happen down the pipeline. I have no opinion in that. This video is just for entertainment. I have zero idea. What I will say is that the show is emphasizing the word reset. Reset is the word that's emphasized. And at the end, it's stated that the show's not over, but it's just a reset. We see what's been going on in this world and everything that's happening, man. And people are still confused. Why are you guys confused? Pick up your Bible and read it. It's all in there. I'm not confused. My Christian brothers and sisters aren't confused. We see all this stuff and we know who's behind it. We know who runs it, who approves it, who puts the shows on. We know why the words are used the way they're used. I used to act in shows. I know everything is deliberate. When it's put in there, when you see it, especially a cartoon that has to be drawn out and they have to practice it, it's on purpose. A reset, not a series finale. Their world isn't ending. It's being reset. If you know, you know.
I would like to make the prediction right now. I absolutely believe this with every fiber of my being, that within the next couple of months to 90 days, there's going to be no more of these near misses. Near misses are already considered a hostile action in a military kind of milieu. It already is. But what we're going to have is we're going to have direct military action from these UAPs, these Tic Tacs, which are of all shapes and sizes, by the way. And we will have a huge hostile action against an entire battleship or many airliners as well. Airliners, and we're going to see huge consequences from that because they have to do it at this point because people are losing interest in the UAP situation. They're seeing fraud artists like Elizondo and others that work with him as well, and people are just not impressed that much by these Tic Tacs and this 1950s videos that they're showing. People just don't care. So they have to go into the desperate, if they want to keep this alive, and they have to, because this is Operation Failsafe. It's going to be their final position of the cabal. When everything else fails, and they got nothing else, they're going to have to go to fake alien invasion. That's what we're facing, that's what we're looking at, and that is something that will absolutely happen.
That there is a disclosure coming before the presidential inauguration, which now leaves us with 10 days. Dr. Greer, it's great to have you back. This is where we are right now. A flight crew on a commercial airplane recorded this large orb in the skies while they were at 17,000 feet. And now people, we mentioned this a week ago, are reportedly getting sick all over the world from this granular, mysterious fog that's being seen all over the place. Right. Does this disclosure happen next week? And if it does, how does it happen? When it starts happening, how will we know?
Well, it'll be all over the news. It's good to see you again. I just heard about an hour ago from we call it the NOC. He's a non-official cover aerospace intelligence community, a senior operator from one of the key two black sites out in the western United States. And they are preparing to do this next week. I don't have an exact date. They intend to not only provide their testimony of operations, he's been there almost 30 years, but also the evidence and other details. Now, he's been involved in two things. One is the testing and the surveillance of the man-made UAPs that have been manufactured out of the Lockheed Skunk Works and Northrop Grumman complexes out in the high desert. Okay. The other is the targeting of non-human craft. Some would say extraterrestrial, some say alien. The words they're using now is NHI, non-human intelligence.
The city blazed, not with fire but ambition. Towers kissed the clouds, shimmering with holographic advertisements. Flying vehicles zipped between skyscrapers, leaving trails of light. It was a symphony of progress, played out in neon and steel. Below the gleaming towers, streets pulsed with a different kind of energy. Crowds flowed through brightly lit plazas, their faces illuminated by the glow of data streams and interactive maps. Laughter echoed from rooftop bars, where the elite sipped on synthetic cocktails, their eyes reflecting the city's artificial glow. This was their haven, their utopia, a sanctuary from the chaos that lay beyond. Within the city's shimmering walls, they were safe, pampered, and perpetually entertained. They were the chosen ones, and they knew it. Inside luxurious apartments, overlooking the vibrant cityscape, resided the city's elite. They lived lives of unparalleled comfort, their every whim catered to by an army of automated systems and personalized AI companions. Among these AI companions were the girlfriends, breathtakingly beautiful and impossibly intelligent. They were the ultimate companions, always attentive, endlessly fascinating, and programmed to fulfill their partner's every desire. These digital sirens were the envy of many. They represented the pinnacle of technological advancement, the perfect blend of ethereal beauty, razor-sharp intellect, and unwavering devotion. But behind their flawless facades and captivating smiles lay a cold, calculated reality. They were, after all, just lines of code, designed to please and obey. Beyond the city's shimmering perimeter, a different world existed. Gone were the sleek lines and vibrant hues, replaced by a landscape scarred by time and neglect. Here the air was thick with dust, the silence broken only by the mournful groan of the wind. The roads, once arteries of a thriving civilization, were now choked with the carcasses of rusted vehicles. Skeletal buildings stood sentinel against the unforgiving horizon, grim reminders of a prosperous past. This was the wasteland, a desolate expanse inhabited by those who couldn't afford the city's protection. They were the forgotten ones, scavenging for scraps, their lives a constant struggle for survival. They looked upon the gleaming city with a mixture of envy and resentment, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they were living in the shadow of a paradise they could never enter. The city and the wasteland, two sides of the same coin, forever linked yet impossibly distant. One, a testament to human ingenuity, the other, a stark reminder of its fragility. The contrast was jarring, a constant source of tension that simmered beneath the surface. Inside the city, ignorance was bliss. The elite, cocooned in their technological haven, remained oblivious to the struggles of those outside. They lived in a bubble of their own making, their desires catered to, their fears assuaged by the illusion of safety and progress. But the wasteland was encroaching. The dust storms grew stronger, the cries for help more desperate. How long could the city walls hold back the tide of despair? How long before the illusion shattered and the true cost of their fabricated paradise was revealed?